And this is another reason why it's important for the people to nationalize and claim their estate, etc. So the nationalization is used around the world on the planet, which is the point being made, for the proper heirs of all political jurisdictions to have their inheritances and their resources preserved from generation to generation. So it's not just the principle of buying and selling. No, that does not suffice in law, for a claim of reversion of estate supersedes any deed or mortgage claim, etc. This is again why persons who've been pretending to be government and persons who've been pretending nation this, nation that, nation that, nation this, do not teach that prior to 1913, all land was held in Aboriginal title or allodial title, because they don't want you to know that. So when they talk about the Jekyll Island thing, they'll always talk about, well, it ain't no money and all this sort of stuff. And they don't tell you that they abridged the issue of consular venues of diversity of nationality, distinguishing nationals of the land from corporate citizens and or aliens under the Naturalization Act, which is also why after Ulysses Grant came into power, after Lincoln, etc., they changed up the Naturalization Act and start calling the hybrid Europeans white people, with the Whigamore party split, and then they start claiming to be Americans when indeed they in fact are not. And they've been robbing our land under the name of American and the name of Unum Sanctum and the doctrine of discovery, creating all this collateral damage that we're suffering from now. Therefore, declare your nationality, declare your land. The more the people become conscious and it becomes normal for them just being themselves, the corruption will just fall away, because it only lives because the people aren't aware of their lost estate.
Well, what? Okay, Funk Boogie says, asks, what about if a person has a felony, then they nationalize?
That does not remove the fact that you have your birthright is not lost because there was some felony.
Yeah, okay, because they say, do they have the same rights as other boys who've never been arrested?
Not just that. Who charged you with a felony? And what was the felony? And was the person who charged you a felony, were you before a jury of nationals of your own peers? Did you have due process?
Probably not.
And was the persons who charged you have any sovereign right by law to exercise under quo warranto an exercise of a court to make that claim against you in the first place? And if you were charged of a felony, state the consular venue upon that was entered in the jurisdiction from which the charge was made and solidified by both parties of the jurisdiction. And I suggest that that did not take place. Therefore, I also suggest that the claim of you being a felon of any damn thing is a fraud. And it doesn't mean that you didn't create or that you didn't do an injury. Do you understand? But if you lack due process, the claim is fraud. However, even if it stood, it doesn't steal your birthright. Keep that in mind. Birthright's intact.
Okay, Pasha XZGL says, what happened to all these Asian assassins that are supposed to assist the Moors in the recovery of our estates? Quoted from Grand Sheikh Taj Tarik.
That would be good question. When you look at all of our people now, let's look at our family members. How many are family members that you can look back that went to the Vietnam War, Korean War, Panama?
Asian assassins?
We're Asiatics.
Okay.
We're Africans, Asiatics. We're Asiatics. Which means, this is what I'm saying is, a lot of people that want to help us have a problem with us insisting on being black and insist on going to and fro the earth, devouring our own brothers and sisters, helping this hybrid fake European conquer other nations and then looking for them to come help us. Use your common sense and then ask where they are, and then ask again in consideration some of the forgiving work that needs to be done on multiple fronts and recognize that we have not been in honor. However, we're trying to get there now, aren't we? The sooner we do, the sooner the world come to our aid. They've been coming to our aid anyways, just that our people don't recognize it now. They don't recognize a lot of the politics, the economic killing of U.S. Treasury bonds is also the rest of the world coming to our aid. Because all war is not hot fire.
Let me see. Other questions. Someone says, why not? Who said that? Where'd it go? I think I saw it says, is this considered publication? I'm not sure if they're asking what we're doing, what you're doing right now is considered publication. Maybe it's a question, maybe it's a response to something else. Someone says, why not open an Aboriginal, I saw that, Lance Ross L. Why not open an Aboriginal title company?
Good. Haven't we been doing it for everybody else? You know, it's like, you know, and when these things come to you, it shows you the assignments that the ancestors are presenting to us. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like, it's sort of like when ideas come to you, it shows you that nature is telling us what our jobs are. And again, you know, like we talked very often, Dr. Naila, if our people put as much effort in to bringing remedies to the problems that we have as we have been to doing mosque, church, and synagogues, etc., half these social, political, and spiritual problems that exist among us wouldn't exist. They would have been cured.
Right.
But we have neglected our civilization responsibilities, referred to as civics. And therefore, we have been incompetent in areas where we're often seeking remedy. You know what I mean? But that's an observation of the collateral damage.
Okay. Mercedes Dickerson says Castro's nationalization of Cuba was a strategic move, as he is a descendant of Pope Innocent III.
That is true.
Research finding of law.
That is true.
Yeah.
And isn't it back to the fact that members of the Roman Curia and that the Unum Sanctum and Doctrine of Discovery operations have been contaminating, you know, at least 90% of the world, which we said earlier. We're aware of that. However, in the conversation, we were talking about the principle of nationalization, its political application.
Chorin said, what is birthright?
Birthright is that which is divine, is not legislated. It's not an ens legis. It is by divine of your physical and actual existence coming from the womb of your mother. Those are the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that are expressed in documents, but are actually philosophical Sunni principles, etc., dealing with nature's law, nature's God, distinguished from legislated things, and thus are related to what is usually referred to as unalienable rights, which means no lien can be placed upon them because you can't buy it. This is why, or you'll hear statements like Noble Drew Ali says nationality is free.
Khalifa Javed Bey, peace, says our people would stop using fiat, but no one is revealing to our people after they nationalize the lawful way to live off of trust. Too many unlawful wrong processes are being taught.
And look at this. This is the point. The fact that you're moving in the direction of trust is a learning process, because we've been out of the loop of structured government for quite some time. all structured government are absolutely operating in the venues of trust in the state. Now, and I'm not defending anything or anyone that's misrepresenting anything. However, all of our people should learn trust law because it's how government operates. And the offices that are held are called offices of trust. Therefore, fundamentals of trust should have been taught to all of the people. And that's distinguished from someone misrepresenting anything, if you get the whole point. And my view on this is people who have been held outside of government structure for generations, some and many being on a learning curve, are going to try different methodologies for cure. Some will be not correct, some will be flawed. But the fact that the people are being made cognizant of it, this is where we should exercise our five senses and make those corrections. So if one identifies something that someone is doing incorrectly, then that's your position to interject. And because if you identify as wrong, then that means you know what's right.
Right.
And so interject that and then do your part to make things better for our people.
Makes sense. Asa Seymour Day says, asks, what is so significant about Florida for Trump to move here? I guess they're
Florida. Everybody knows that Florida is the land of flowers. The hybrid Europeans always call Florida, or the land of flowers, the land of milk and honey, or the fountain of youth. Yes, because we've always had the exotic plants that you can find in all areas in the land of flowers. Also, at the tip of land of flowers, you have the experience of the tropics, the clear waters. You have a clear jumping port, and there's also, people are not aware of it, but there was also bridge that's actually under the water.
A land bridge.
Yeah, land bridge that actually goes from Florida, or on the other side, and also to the South Gate. So Florida has always been a strategic land area, and a jump-off port for world trade too.
Would it have anything also to do with the fact that the governor there is a Republican governor and open to?
Well, you can look at that as more of a modern iteration, but let's look at it more in the context of its actual strategic. And then you have a lot of the Shakums of the Elise Moors and Seminole were in that area too, with the Powhatani Confederation.
What would that have to do with Trump moving there? Well, he has to
a lot of the hybrid Europeans was taken over that area because of its lush agricultural land and strategic location, and generally pleasant yearly atmosphere. Generally, that's the major reason, because it's a beautiful place to live.
Deal with snow and craziness.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Harris L. I don't know where they're domiciled, but they said we have been seeing a lot of extraterrestrial beings in the sky lately. Is an invasion coming soon?
Put it this way: there's never been a time that we haven't been dealing with them, so there's nothing soon. You can look at things from a point of whether or not certain interactions will be reinitiated that have been blocked previously for some time. Part of it being because of our necessarily evolutionary development and regeneration and preparation for extended reintroduction to what you would call a broader range of inner and outer terrestrial operations, meaning that a little more civilizing needed to be done here, meaning we had a lot of broken souls here.
So Yeah, King Flicks put a quote here from Ho Chi Minh. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other.
That's the point. There we go. That's back to the Berber
Berber
gypsies.
Yeah.
See, just like as an example, we've allowed the hybrids to tell us that the Chinese, i.e., came here to the Maghreb to help build the railroads after the hybrid Europeans, 1492 came here and took over from the Moors and stuff like that, when actually the Atini or the Manchurians, etc., have been here with us for thousands of years. Our concepts about a lot of things are wrong.
Khalifa El said that Nobu Ali said our brothers from the East would help us. Please explain.
All right, he says, the time will come, and you'll be walking down the street, and you'll see a $20 bill on the pavement and won't waste your time to bend over and pick it up. Industry will come to a screeching halt.
Wow.
But when it starts up again, it will start up in favor of the Asiatics. Look at that and answer your question.
Okay. So did he also say that they would help? They would teach.
They've already been doing it. Remember, it is not new news, but we've been telling people for quite some time, for years and years and years, that the Asiatic world would stop buying the U.S. Treasury bond, which has been used since the 1860s as a foundation for the operations of the United States Corporation Company, which has been promoted falsely as the country since the country has been conquered. When the world stops buying the U.S. Treasury bond, which is really human stock instruments and bottomry instruments, that their economic system of human traffic would be interrupted, and you would start having a feedback loop. And we re-emphasize that particularly in these last 7 or 8 years, and what you see is that manifesting right now. As Asia and Africa, and you might have heard these terms, this acronym called BRICS nation as an example, and that's not the only one. Those are those operations. By default of those operations, by both goodwill and also by cause and effect consequence, the U.S. corporation is being dismantled. By virtue of that, the estate of the Moors is being released. Among us are men and women who want to help and are doing what they can, putting their necks on the line to help fallen humanity. And this includes even some of the hybrid sons and daughters of hybrid Europe to bring remedy. And as the Prophet Noble Ali said, in relationship to the Moorish divine and national movement, he made a statement along this lines. He said, help me in my great missionary work to bring my people back into the constitutional fold of government, enforcing our Constitution for the United States of America. He's talking about the honesty confederation rules, not the concepts that you see or what they've been telling you about John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, James Barkley as an agent in business. They're talking about the rule of the principles of Constitution principles, not just with the allodial principles of recognition of human rights, etc., but also the Constitution of the salts and the phosphates and the foodstuffs that are harmonic with the constitution of the body, in harmony with fatwa and Moorish customs and principles. And in a statement, metaphor, it would be said, turn your hearts back to your mothers and fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. And this is what you're seeing now.
Okay, here's a Shugel one says, how important is discussing Trafficant's statement on the U.S. Chapter 11 to our youth to understand the current state of play with the global politics?
The importance of it is because when you're looking at the, the House Journal records, you'll see that, when you're people like yourself and others who have been trying to help our people comprehend that the United States is a private corporation that's bankrupt, that they have been trained is the country. That's what's important. Meaning that their own records show that the whole platform of their operations is a fraud, and that the United States is a corporation and not the country. See, because that mysticism and misrepresentation must be removed from the minds of the people, because, for years you can tell the people de facto platforms to distinguish and make discernment from de jure. And they'll look at it and turn around and ask questions that indicate that they don't comprehend what you just said. The Trafficant excerpts from his speech on the floor of the House, because actually he was talking also about James McFadden, which you will not see included in that immediate record, but that's what he's making reference to, because you already know they murdered James McFadden when he went to visit his daughter in New York.
I thought it was Trafficant.
No, McFadden, Trafficant's speech is reference to that, although when you know the history, though it's not that. And so that's what makes Trafficant's speech important, because it tells a lot. It even tells you that prior to 1913, all the property was held in a allodial title. So even as you already know, when our people are talking about land grants, buying and selling land, and you refer to them to Aboriginal titles and allodial titles, and most of them not only are not familiar, but won't even know what you're talking about. But yet they're talking about estate transfers, and so with Trafficant's speech before the House of Representatives, it reveals a lot, including the fact that exposing the fact that the United States is operating in name only shows you again that they're de facto, and that they're actually a criminal operation. Now let's think about, as an example, can you think of any of your recent, say, corporate entities and malls across the country that went bankrupt and that are closed? You got these big, beautiful buildings closed now, with roofs leaking. Now, do you expect to walk into one of the malls and see a thriving, say, a sneak store in the middle of the place, or them having a food court in the middle of there? They're bankrupt. They're defunct. They have no business operating. This is the same thing that's going on with the United States Corporation Company now, which is also why they got barbed wire around the White House. It's the very same thing, but people don't know what they're looking at. They're defunct. They're bankrupt. They had no business operating, but they've been operating, haven't they? Now, so they're creating criminal acts against the people, and they're making rules against the people that's causing injury, aren't they? But the people need to know that these people are organized criminals. The fact that the people in general aren't aware of that, they still think these people are government officials for them to vote for, is problematic. You see? The Trafficant letter exposes that too. This is again why they killed him and pretended that his tractor rolled over on him.
I'll do one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
From Victor Oluwatobi, does the Moore law apply to people in Africa, as we have a lot of Europeans?
Africans are Moors.
No, they said they have a lot of Europeans and Chinese in Africa. He's in South Africa, but he wants to know, does it apply, I guess, when it comes to Europeans, Chinese being there in Africa, like it does here?
See, this what must be understood. North America is Northwest Africa. Central America is Old Amexem, known as Olmec. South America, Southwest Africa. Asia Sol on the east side is known today as Africa. So when you're talking about the Moorish Empire, you're talking about Africa, continent as you know it now, across the Great Atlantis, even to North, Central, South America, including Mexico, which you'll see in chapter 47 of your Circle 7 Quran. And so when you're talking about the conquest of the Moors, you're talking about all the Mandinka and Bantu, Berber tribes and linguistic groups collectively are Moors. Now, when you're talking about political jurisdictions, you're having some political jurisdictions that are still intact, even though we've been occupied by hybrid Europeans. And then you have some that have been distorted, most of which are in the Western Hemisphere, which is known, as you know, as the Maghreb, Morocco, the most extreme West. So therefore, the same treaties, etc., and rules that govern the planet, and even the operations of Unum Sanctum and the Doctrine of Discovery that cause all this collateral damage, is on both sides because we all are one people. Anyway, thank you all for sharing with us here at the House of ReAwakening Minds. Please support the House of ReAwakening Minds because it's in place to support you.
I want to just add something. We have over 1,500 people on the live stream. I think between our two sites, we had about 15 people give something. So I want to say that out of the rest of you all, hopefully you all will see fit in your heart to get us above $130 and support what we're doing to keep it going. We do appreciate you so much. And Grand Sheik, gives out of his heart. I know everyone doesn't agree with everything, that you say all the time. And, I look at some of the comments, but I know you're not bothered by the negative and so forth. And
I use it as fuel.
Yeah. So we're just doing what it is. As Grand Sheik always said, he's doing what his mother sent him here to do.
Yep.
And I suppose I'm doing the same thing.
And and this is the suggestion. Since we're all allegedly trying to help our people, where you see weaknesses, introduce your strengths.
Right.
Where you see trash on the pavement, let's not talk about the program of trash picking up. Bend over and pick that trash up.
Absolutely.
And understand every one of us have the responsibility to contribute to the uplifting of fallen humanity. It is not done. This is not the age of follow the leader type thing. It is the age for all of us to take our places among the affairs of men and to come together harmonically, recognize that the positions that we have found ourselves in to the negative has been because most of us have sat on our butts waiting for everyone else to do the work. And we sit back and armchair judge them rather than contribute to the work that's necessary for all of us.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. I just want, if it's all right, Grand Sheik, I have an event coming up on Sunday, and if I can just put my little promo up for that.
Oh, yes.
I just want to say to any of you all who saw my Tuesday night show with Millionaire Mastermind.
Oh, yeah.
Millionaire Mastermind show.
That was good.
I want you to, if you signed up on Extreme FX, we want to help you get started. And I'm having a private meeting on Sunday. I've been running the banner. If you would like to be a part of that, I want you to text me the word invite or text the word invite to 302-345-0500. I'm gonna put this up across your face a little bit, Grand Sheik. I want you to create a new Wall Street for us, by us. We want you to be a part of this. Please text 302-345-0500 and the word invite, and I will send you this link because I don't want you to try to have to write this down. But if you write down the number and the word invite, either if you already signed up because you need to know what's next, And if you haven't signed up and you want to know what this is all about and get involved, this is global. I don't care where you are in the world, anywhere on the planet. I don't care how old you are. If you want your children to understand this world, that this opportunity, your children can be involved, your seniors, citizens like myself, and anybody in between. So I don't care where you are, anywhere on the planet, you can be a part of this, but you need to text me, get this link, or you need to copy this link that you see down here and be with us.
And it's important for the nationals,
right?
Particularly because the nationals are the heirs. And keep in mind, the nationals are distinguished from the citizens.
Right.
The nationals are AA.
Right.
When you deal with citizens, you're dealing with A1 to 19. When you deal with nationals, you're dealing with AA. And like when you look in like the Bible, when it says every man, woman, and child must confess their own and worship under their own vine and fig tree.
Absolutely.
In the political world, that's nationalization. It's not condemning or leaving anyone out. It's everyone claiming their mother.
Right.
It's sort of like in the political realm, when your mother is sick, she's not to be feeding her milk to everyone else's child, though she may share her milk at other times. Nationalization is in harmony with matriarchy, in harmony with nature. When the mother is sick, when the nativity is sick, when the nation is sick, the womb is sick, the healing is nativity, nationalization all over the world. Remember, nationalization is a political paradigm and dynamics that's derived from the study of nature. Absolutely. It really is. Absolutely. And so what it is saying, like, just like you have sisters, right?
Sister.
And other women have sisters. I'm just saying you still have sisters.
Right.
And say when you're home, you have your jurisdiction. She has her jurisdiction. If the children are unruly or uncivil, civics, you send them home to the mother. Right. They tearing up your yard, pulling all the stuff off and throwing it all when they're not civil, international law violating. Right. You send them home. That's called nationalization.
Absolutely.
They took the bike, your child's bike. You say, send my bike back. That's nationalization. That's the resource. Political nationalization is very simple when you just look at family structure, because that's what it is.
Absolutely.
It's just on a larger scale.
I get it.
And the hybrid European living off our virtues or colonization is what? He's been doing what? Come in your house like a Trojan horse and been stealing all your resources, then killing off your family, taking your stuff. That's what it is.
Okay. Listen, we're not going to go into another lesson because we have been in the midst of the master. Yeah. I hope you all notice our new sign behind him, thinking of a master plan. You didn't even notice that.
You got some stuff.
Thinking of a master plan. You always doing that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. Please make sure you either go to our Cash App or to our PayPal and support House of ReAwakening Minds, because we are always here to support you. We love you. We appreciate you. And we ask that you have a very pleasant evening. Don't let grand evening. Don't let all of the I know it sounds a little down sometimes when you get to but there's brighter days are coming. It depends on you.
Yeah, and we have to be honest with our people, because we don't want to project false hopes.
True.
However, we also want to project to ourselves our responsibility in that we are creators and makers of our condition.
Absolutely.
And the sooner we start taking responsibility, the sooner we can help fix things. And we've got to get out of that paradigm of looking for sacrificial lambs.
And I want to say the one last thing. I want to say this. I had an example of this. You remember yesterday. When we think in terms of working with fiat versus the other forms, the barter system came up yesterday. You remember? So yesterday I had a situation where I had to go to a new person to get my locks done, right? And so I had a product with me when I went there to visit. When I went there to get my locks done, and he told me, he said, well, come back tomorrow and I will purchase what you have, which is the air purifier. And I thought about it I said, okay. When I got home, I thought about, wait a minute, that is two hair lock sessions. Yeah. So I called him up. I said, instead of you paying me for this, just put it on the books for the next two sessions,
You're
I'm
right.
gonna bring you that. We have to learn how to barter
Yes.
and trade. And when you think in terms of it, we all have different things that we have to offer.
Now,
It hit
the
home.
fake and the fraudulent income was applied to your right of trade to rob you. That's why Wall Street is wealthy. They've been stealing, and the people think they're obligated to that.
Anyway, we can go on. We can go on. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for all of you who are texting in.
Declare your nationality.
Right. Texting in for the USB drive, texting in for your invite. I want to see if you get an invite, please show up at 3 p.m. or Eastern on Sunday. You don't want to miss this. Thank you so much. We love you. And we are getting ready to sign off.
Peace.
Peace.